So I want to move on, just before we do, some of you are still doing the dead toes thing. I know it's really easy to do this. It's such a natural habit. Like I literally am thinking of getting like live toes tattooed on my forehead. So I yell it out in every class, which I have. Like even people who've been training with me for 4 years at this point, I still have to yell at them, hey guys, live toes. Like don't worry about it, but try to keep in mind you're going to be much more effective if you put the balls of your feet on the mat. And some of you are still kind of struggling with this placement of the arm, which is either my forearm has to be behind your triceps, or my biceps has to be behind your triceps. I cannot be below your elbow. This is cosmetic. This is not a Kimura control. This is barely even a Kimura grip, really. Like I have no control of him here. I have to be controlling this lever. I have to be controlling this lever. As soon as this slips past, I have no way of controlling this lever or forcing internal rotation. So as we continue on, I want you to be really aware of that, because you're not going to be able to do the movements that we're going to be following up with. So if at any point here, like I'm not super clear on like the experience level of everybody in the room, but if you need to just keep doing the control, take an ego hit and do it. Because if you walk out of here today and like, man, I learned some really great stuff. Well, I can't remember any of it because I moved on before I actually got the movement. It's okay if all you learn how to do today is control somebody with the Kimura like this. That's a really powerful control. As a matter of fact, it is the no-gi control. If I pass your guy, like for those of you that have watched EBI or any amount of like no-gi sub only, how often do you ever see anybody succeed from here? Or even from the mount? At the highest levels in no-gi, it's back control, Kimura control, and leg entanglements. It's rare that you see somebody successfully finish anyone, at the higher level, from side control or even mount. Now, I think that's kind of silly, and I don't want to go off on a rant about sub-only rules actually making people worse at jiu-jitsu, but that's neither here nor there. But like, I've got mounted for 10 minutes and we get to go to overtime. That's ridiculous. But anyway. But if you want to be effective in no-gi under that particular rule set, if you want to compete, you have to know how to control people with the Kimura. It's really the best upper body control if you want to feed people into submissions. So if all you get from today is internal rotation of the shoulder, this ratchet style lever, once you get it, you'll be able to add all the other stuff in here. So don't move past it if you haven't got it. But the next thing we want to do is, once we've got someone here and we're starting to kind of turn them, there are two options really. I can try to pursue the Kimura itself, which means I have to separate his arm from his body. Or I can use the fact that he's defending the Kimura, so let's say like you grab your pants here. Exactly. So now, we're going to go over how to break the grip and finish the Kimura, absolutely. Kind of lousy Kimura seminar if I can show you how to finish the Kimura. But I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, 90% of the time I do this, I take the back. And sometimes I do the armbar. And the remaining times I do the Kimura. So the Kimura is actually my last option when I go here. So I know, but you know, I'm about 180 pounds. Troy, I don't want to put you on the spot, but anyway, about 230. I'm not trying to do this all day. It's just not the most efficient option. If I can do it, great. But if I want to take the back, this back leg here is going to come dead toes. I'm going to tuck my foot in underneath. Has anybody here done like a chair sit? You know, like where you take the back like this? Yeah. That's basically what we're going to do. We're going to do a chair sit. I'm just going to switch sides so it's easier on my bad hamstring here. Kind of a mess today. So I turn my partner. I was on my knee. I tucked my foot in. So I'm allowing my shin to come in behind his shoulder blade area. My elbow is coming down on his collarbone so that I can lean this way and apply a little bit of a posture break just to make him a little bit weaker. Now, my next goal is to bring this leg, so this would have gone into base, is to bring this leg across, like so. So I'm hooking his far hip. Let's just rotate so everyone can see. I'm hooking the far hip. So I now have created what we call cross-body rotational control. So I have his bottom right corner of his hip, and I have his top left corner lever-based control with his shoulder. Now I'm going to be able to pull him across to that side. This is why I want dead toes and not live toes. If I go live toes down, I'm going to crunch my ankle. So I've just tucked my foot right up against his back. I'm going to lean, and I'm going to pull him across. I'm going to go from my right butt cheek to my left butt cheek, like this. Now my goal is to keep his elbow off the mat. Funnily enough, Stefan Kesting and I just shot an entire weak side back attack instructional that's going to come out at some point. So there's a bunch of information you'll be able to access about that from here. We might even just put the whole thing up on YouTube. But this is our goal, is to get here. Now, I can set my hooks. I can body triangle if my legs were a little bit longer, or I can just stay here, or I can migrate to like standard hooks. If you have a weak side back attack, I would keep your foot here. It's going to enable me to pursue like arm traps and stuff like that. If you don't, I would recommend this, because I'm isolating his leg in a way that's actually superior to both hooks. Right? Like if you go move your hip around here, you notice like it's pretty restricted, and you can't do that funny ankle lock that people do when you do this. Right? So foot across the hip, other foot across. This is really great control. Again, I've isolated his bottom right corner and his top left corner, and then from here I can start to pursue my attacks. All right? I'm going to go through that once again. This style of back attack, by the way, we call it cross body, where we control a bottom corner and an opposite top corner, is extremely powerful, and it gets around a lot of sort of conventional back defense stuff and back take methods. So yeah, if you want to look into it, we're going to have some pretty good material on it in the future. Kimura control. Make sure you're not below the elbow. Now there's nothing, there's no control. Above the elbow, affecting the back of the triceps with either your bicep or your forearm, doesn't matter which. Pressure downward, not across, not out. Downward against the hip like I'm trying to push his hand through his hip. I lean and I insert my foot and I hook across the far hip. Then I roll. When I pull, I'm using the lever here, so I am going to bring this to my biceps. Now I'm going to start pulling. So before we were doing this, now I just pull him, using that as a lever to bring him to this side. I can also knee him in the back. Not like literally knee him, but like push him with my knee. And then we can cross our ankles here and come to like a seatbelt, but still holding the arm. Chin down. As much as possible when I'm attacking, I'm going to want to keep that elbow off the mat, but it's okay if it rests there for now. Right, chin tucked in, and just get here. Now you're on the back. You can swap the hooks. I'm unsure. I'm hoping that somebody with more referee knowledge will tell me if IBJJF will give you back points for this. I don't actually know, but you can just switch it if you need to. Kind of silly if they didn't, but they do a lot of silly stuff, so let's not pretend otherwise. This is really good control. I can move back to the Kimura and attack the arm bar, which we'll go over. But as long as you get here, you've achieved the back, and that's a pretty good place to attack from. So on. Any questions on that? Does anyone need to see it again? Thank you. I'm taking the hit for everyone else. I need to see it again, but all right. So I started with my Kimura here. Maybe I tried to do this, dude, it's just too strong. I roll him on his side. I put my chest behind his back. I tuck my foot in. I sit right to my hip. I start pulling the Kimura up so that I can rest my elbow in his neck. Come across the hip. Now I start pulling. Biceps backs up his triceps. Slight roll of the wrists. From my right side to my left side, I pull him past me, and I try to maintain this Kimura internal rotation. It's more powerful. If you need to give your partner's shoulder a rest, allow this to happen. And sometimes when I'm demonstrating and I'm being lazy, I allow this to happen. But I don't want this to happen. It's better control if I maintain the internal rotation. I gripped my foot. Sorry, I swear I'm not doing that on purpose. Bring this to here. All right? Let's give it a try, guys. Again, I didn't emphasize this enough. When we do the leg over part, so if we're here, most of you are staying on your knee and doing this. There's a pretty decent chance that your foot is going to get caught underneath your butt. And if Troy were to bridge into me right now, imagine if I fell over like this. Now I'm okay, because I can sit like this, and my ACLs will be fine. But I would certainly never teach it that way. So let's just make sure that we are tucking our foot underneath our partner's back and sitting to our butt, so that our partner is then just going to roll safely over our leg. Right? So I'm leaning, I'm all the way on my hip when I bring this leg across, and so when he rolls over me, there's no risk to my leg. Right? Then I pull him in front of me, setting either the body triangle or whatever style of control you want. Right? So just make sure you're not staying on your knee and rolling the leg over like this. Nothing's going to happen today because we're all training partners, we're all cooperating. But if somebody ever violently breaks into you at that point, danger. I want my partner to just roll over my shin and a little bit of my thigh. All right? So I get here, I get here. When I go to pull, biceps backs up the triceps. Don't go back. It's not a back extension. I'm going to my left. Like that. It's much easier. All right, let's make that adjustment, folks.